What dire warning from your parents turned out to be balls? If you get in trouble at school, it will go on your permanent record and ruin your life. Not once has anyone, from college admissions to prospective employers to loan officers, so much as mentioned the legendary permanent record. I went back to my old high school a year after I graduated and asked to see what was in my permanent record, and they'd already thrown it away. That my two choices in life were either Harvard or McDonald's. Sheesh. Bit of a grey area in between those two extremes. I was born left-handed. My pops used to smack the crap out of me if I used my left hand, in essence forcing me to be right-handed. I had to constantly remind myself to use the hand with my birthmark to avoid smacks. As an adult, I asked my pops why he forced me to be right-handed, and he gave some tepid response about when you're left-handed you'll have a tendency to pull that way when you're driving, exposing you to oncoming traffic. Sounded like balls to me, and as confirmed by all the left-hand driver is the world that don't spontaneously drive into oncoming traffic. If anyone has any ideas, I'd love to know. For reference, my pops is an old school Vietnamese dude. I feel like it's a cultural thing, but I was raised American and have no freaking idea. I did a real estate closing a few years ago for a recent middle-aged Chinese immigrant. She looked at me writing with wide eyes and said, "You're left-handed." "So am I." I was confused because she was writing with her right hand, so I asked, and she said that in China, she wasn't allowed to write with her left hand and that they'd smack her when she tried. That if I used one brand of shampoo and a different brand of conditioner that my hair would fall out. Also, when I was 5 or 6, I asked what would happen if you went the opposite way, that you turned the turn signal. My mom told me the car would explode and kill us. Not sure why she told me that crap. Because it was hilarious to watch the rising panic in your eyes as she signaled right, then twitched the wheel left. I would be unemployable if I didn't learn cursive handwriting. Parents and teachers made me think that every job interview would have a cursive test in which they would measure the loops on the L's or something. Seriously, have never once used cursive since like taking the ACT. If you unscrew your belly button, your bum will fall off. I did my best to avoid screwdrivers for a large part of my childhood because I lacked the willpower not to stuff them into my belly button. I was terrified at the thought of losing my bum but intrigued by the possibility. We can't pay $1 to go in the haunted house because they might not have a bathroom in there. What if you have to go to the bathroom? Just admit you're cheap, Dad. My mom warned me as a kid that eating the loose pieces of dried ramen from the pack would make me deathly ill. I kept doing it with no problems. One day she said that in front of my dad when I was a teen, and he just gave her this "WTF are you talking about" look. I was told it would give you worms. My ex-stepdad owned a restaurant where I worked as a busboy when I was a teenager. He was always very tough on me, berating my work, etc., while telling me that he was going easy on me, and when I got a job in the real world, his favorite phrase, "My bosses would be so much tougher on me." I quit a month before my 16th birthday and went to work at the local Dairy Queen and found out he was full of crap. My mom left him shortly after that, thankfully. If I cross my eyes, they might end up staying like that. Disclaimer. Some comments I've received believe this to be true. I'm no expert, but did a quick Google search which also said it was a myth. Cross your eyes at your own risk. I'm cross-eyed. Might tell that to my kids. When we would go to the beach, I would never want to get out of the water, so my mom told me that staying in the water too long would make me waterlogged. She said she could look into my eyes and see the level of water in my system. If the water raised above my iris, that meant I had to get out and let the water drain before I would drown. I believed this for far too long. I was swimming with a friend and we had a track meet the next day. Her dad hollered out to us, "Don't get waterlogged." She said we could soak up too much water and be heavier when we raced the next day. My mom would always tell me, "Take that look off your face or it will freeze like that," when I was little. I took that as fact. I really wanted dimples like my friend down the street, so I would sit in my room with pencil erasers pushed into my cheeks forever. No dimples, still sad. Odd, I never smiled because I have dimples when I smile and I thought they were girly. I ended up losing weight around 21 YO, and now they jump onto my cheeks at the slightest grin. If you play too many video games you'll have to get little braces on your fingers. Mom, the kid at the cash register at the grocery store had them because he played too many video games. Just wait for the carpal tunnel to set in, around age 40, and we can talk again. Boys only want one thing from girls. Be careful in high school. That's all the boys will want to do. Turns out the one thing all the boys I hung out with wanted from me was a turn up playing Pokemon on my Game Boy. Same dude. My mom didn't even let me go to my gay friend's house. I'm a girl, he's a boy, because she was afraid he was faking being gay and would violate me. Microwaves will give you cancer. Cell phones will give you cancer. Smart meters will give you cancer. Wi-Fi will give you cancer. Conventionally grown food will give you cancer. Western medicine will give you cancer. Antibiotics will give you cancer. My mom was obsessed with cancer. Forgot. Sitting near the TV will give you cancer. Then she bought a 12 inches black and white TV. Bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Not really a warning, but my dad told me I was Princess Poops a lot of Lulu Island. I was maybe 4/5 and went to school bragging about how I was a princess and they better respect my authority. The school called my parents and my dad just about died from laughter. Getting less than 90% in school will make me a trash man and live a very miserable life. And no, they're not Asians, they're Egyptians. I'm the trash man. I'm gonna come out and start eating trash. People you meet on the internet are swindlers or serial killers. Overall, the amount of people who are out there to get me and should be feared all day round was severely exaggerated. That explains some of my social problems, I guess. As a people on the internet I'm offended. I haven't swindled or serial killed anyone in years. Learn math because you won't be walking around with a calculator in your pocket. I'm typing right now on my calculator. Sniffling kills brain cells. I didn't sniff or snort, even during colds, because I was terrified I would lose my brain cells. Turns out my mom thinks sniffling is annoying and didn't want to hear it. I mean, if you sniff bath salts I guess it does. That if I ever told anyone about the abuse, I'd be taken away from them, put in a foster family, and that my foster family would violate me to death, decapitate me, and throw my head in the canal. Oh, and that the only reason why my parents didn't do the same was because they loved me. That's why my mom only beat the crap out of me every day instead of raping and murdering me. In reality, when telling people about the abuse, it's hard enough to get them to believe me, let alone do something, and I probably would have been much better off in foster care. That if I ever told anyone about the abuse, I'd be taken away from them, put in a foster family, and that my foster family would violate me to death, decapitate me, and throw my head in the canal. Sheesh. What a supportive family. I'm sorry this happened to you. My mom is convinced that if I don't take all honors and AP classes in high school, I'm going to drop out and not get into college. Whenever I try to drop out of a class, she emails my counselor and tells her to put me back in. After you betrayed me like this and you moved to that B, you will never succeed in life. You will not graduate school. You will not work and you will fail. Dad, 8 years ago, on the phone, to 13-year-old me on the day I moved indefinitely to my mother after 9 years of abuse. I work. I graduated school and I did not fail at the stuff he said I was gonna fail at. I might have failed in other things though, but that is another story. I'm glad you got out. That is not okay. I hope 13-year-old you knows that it was not your fault and it was not your responsibility to stay with your dad. You can't eat steak that is pink on the inside. That's how you get sick. Believed this till I was about 19 until I learned that it pretty much can be as red in the center as you like so long as it's properly seared. Turned out my mom just didn't like rare steak and felt uncomfortable making it for me and my sister, so she just lied. If the steak isn't black, it's raw, according to my mom. If you sit too close to the TV, you will go blind. I've been working in IT in front of a monitor for 20 years now. I'm 41 and still 20/20. To be fair, you do sound more like the exception than the rule. My eyes are shot from playing Game Boy Color and reading all hours of the night as a kid to the light of my Christmas candles so mom wouldn't catch me. 3. Never get in a car with a stranger. Joke's on you, mom. I've got an app on my phone now to tell strangers I want to get in their car. I was always skinny growing up even though a lot of my family is overweight. I also had no interest in physical activities. My parents always used to tell me that if I didn't exercise I'd start getting fat by the time I was 25. Joke's on them, I didn't start putting on weight until I was 30. I love your username. Watching the TV will give you square eyes. When I was 4 years old, I took a mirror down with me whenever I went to watch TV to ensure my eyes had not gone square. 20 years later, they're still round. Complete balls. But if you had square eyes, square things would look round. You wouldn't be able to tell. All of them. Don't talk to strangers. They'll take you into an alley and kill you for your money. Your friends don't care about you. They just want to use you for your money. Don't take that dance class. Employers will think you're weird and not hire you. If you can't tell me everything you're doing there every day, you're not taking it serious enough and I'm pulling you out of school. Dad lost his marbles a little when I went to college. Your father is a terrible man who will hurt you. No, mom. Just because you had a messy divorce doesn't make him a bad person. I grew up hating him simply because my mother told me to. Around 15 I realized he was a totally chill dude and she probably made up most of the stuff she said. When I graduated HS I moved in with him. My buddy's mom told him his father died when he was young, in his mid-30s. With the help of the newish internet, he found out he had half siblings who told him his father had died just recently. He found out that almost everything his mom had told him about his father was a lie, and he missed meeting his father by only a few months. Your passion and talent for art, games, web design, and photo manipulation won't make you any money. Go to college for something that will get you an actual career, like psychology. I graduated high school in 2007. I wanted to go to a particular college of art and design for game design or industrial and product design, but I listened to their advice instead. They were very wrong. I don't know, man. I did the whole art and design school thing and well, if I miss a single paycheck I'm instantly homeless. Gum takes 7 years to digest. This is when I figured out adults lied. Cause I saw it in my poop. Just couldn't tell anybody. Cause I saw it in my poop. I was feeling ballsy one day in middle school and chewed and swallowed entire pack of gum. It had a very terrible laxative effect. I mean, it was great as a laxative, but the experience was exceptionally unpleasant. Someday you're going to have a boss and you will be fired if you speak to them the way you speak to me. First, if a boss ever abused me the way you did, mom, I'd quit. Second, I have to regularly tell my boss no and that I need her to be more reliable if I am to do the job she wants. Not only do I still have a job, I am constantly praised for the work I do. You'll regret quitting piano lessons. I guess it doesn't sound that dire written out, but my mom's kind of obsessed with musical instruments and was really upset that I didn't want to find a new piano instructor after my last one retired. Anyway, I don't regret it. Kind of wish I could play the guitar, though, but I suppose it's not too late to start. Lots of anecdotes with lots of different opinions in this thread. Guess you can't know if you'll regret quitting something until you already do or don't. Oh no, don't get a credit card. I get it. If you're really irresponsible with money they can cause trouble. However, it makes my finances so much easier. I just put everything I can on it. Make sure I don't spend money I don't have or am not expecting to get. And I get free money out of it. It blows my mind that there are people who think how much money they have is the credit limit on their card, and not the number in the bank. Pushers will offer you drugs to get you hooked. Not once. Not once. In 36 years of living all over the world has anyone offered me anything unless I sort it out. I was under the impression that drugs would be easy to come by when I got old. Nope. We had to go out and find that crap. You had to ask people. There was no internet or texting to find a hookup like you lucky kids have now. You had to talk to sketchy dudes. Maybe you'll get your weed. Maybe you'll get shot. It was a toss-up. Dare really glossed over the concept of unit economics and the fact that drugs cost money. I wish they had been more honest about it. I thought friendly local dealers were going to give me free drugs every day, and it turned out to be another cruel lie like Santa Claus. That literally any college degree would be a guaranteed job, and the only way to get a job. I graduated in 2008. By the way, the only thing colleges care about now is which extracurricular activities you're in. So if you don't participate in any, you can just forget about going to college. I never played any sports and never participated in a single club or extracurricular activity and got accepted to every single college I applied to. People are going to push you to smoke cigarettes. Everyone I've ever met who smokes and offers me a cigarette says the same thing when I tell them I don't smoke. Good for you. I wish I didn't. True, normally when we offer, it's force of habit from hanging with someone who does smoke. If you say no, I am not pushing you to start. Men from the internet are diddlers and will kidnap and violate you. Nah, turns out the debaucher was a boy from my church who my mother thought was dreamy, and the people on the internet were the only ones who believed me. To those who are asking if I'm okay now, I am. Crisis hotlines and women's centers. If there's one thing I can ask of those who read this comment, it's to remember these stories when you're forming your opinions about trigger warnings. A trigger warning content warning gives me a split second to get my head together before I read something, and it allows me to engage with content with far fewer flashbacks. I still want to engage in challenging, difficult content, but the warning helps. My dad used to not allow us to eat prawns when we were younger because it would make us stupid. Of course this was a lie, but I think it partly came from this idiom in my language which translates literally into prawn's brain, which means someone who is stupid. The idiom is derived from the fact that the prawn keeps its fecal matter in its head. Hence an old wives' tale led to a prawnless life. My friends ended up ridiculing me the first time I ate it because I thought I wasn't the only one that wasn't allowed to eat prawn when I was younger. I brought you into this world. I can take you out was my mother's favorite saying, but she never even spanked my butt. She's the sweetest lady ever. When I was in college, my dad was very concerned about my choice of major and kept reminding me that I need to have career options and I can't just choose a major I like. I need to take a major that I can have a career in. I kept telling him I would and he just wouldn't take that for an answer. I was a double major in computer engineer and computer science with a minor in mathematics. I also went on to get my master's in computer software systems. Also, the only change I made in my major while in college was to switch from a double major in CE and physics to one in CE and CS. I had switched after my first disastrous physics class where the prof used vector algebra even though it was not a prereq, and literally 3/4 of the class didn't know how to use it and was failing because he refused to teach it. I later found out that every time he comes up to teach the intro courses, the entire department has an enrollment crisis due to dropped majors. He would brag to the class every week or two about how many times he had failed an entire class. LOL, what kind of idiot doesn't think there's a career in computer engineering or computer science? Don't go into the lake or the dong eating fish will get you. It was total bulls until I waded into a broken beer bottle, cut my foot and had to go to the ER. The forest screamed with the echoes of the whiner eating fish. No, they got me. Daddy. I went into a restaurant with my family once as a kid and wouldn't stop habging off this brass line divider pole they had in there. My grandpa TPL'd me to stop because I was getting fingerprints all over it, but I wouldn't listen. So he tells me, you know, if someone comes in here right now and kills someone else with that pole, your fingerprints are gonna be on it and they're gonna think you did it and send you to jail. I immediately started crying, refused to go anywhere near that pole, and grandpa laughed his head off while my mom and grandma scolded him for scaring me. It turns out, fingerprint evidence is somewhat dubious and in this situation likely would never be admissible in court under these circumstances. So the joke's on you, grandpa, you wily old bastard. If you go to that wedding they will turn you into a lesbian. Joke's on her, I was already sleeping with girls at that point. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.